All right. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to From Stuck to Scaling, your $1 million journey. I'm Sharon Fuller, and today we're tackling something every business owner struggles with, chaos. If you're constantly putting out fires, buried in to-do lists, wondering why you're working so damn hard just to stay afloat, this episode's going to be for you. Scaling is not just about making more money, it's about building systems that keep you from losing your mind while your business grows. And I've got the perfect guest to break it down. Joining me today is Omry Man, co-founder and CRO of my favorite fintech software, Anchor. And it is a platform that automates billing and collections so you can get paid without the back and forth. It also does your contracts. It does so much more. He spent over 15 years in business development, marketing, and tech, helping companies streamline their operations instead of drowning with them. So we're actually going to talk about how to stop running in circles, start building real processes, and actually get your ish together so your business works for you and not against you. And as always, if you've got questions, send them my way. Even if we don't get to them in the episode, I'll be sure to get you answers. So let's get into it. Welcome, Omry. I always love chit-chatting with you. I had to actually, everybody know, just so you know, before I hit record, I'm like, stop, you're saying awesome things. Let's save it for the podcast. So we had a
Well, thank you.
pre-podcast, did we not?
Yeah, but I think this is what will make this a good one. It's just an extension of a very, very organic, natural talk about things
Yeah.
that we think that can add value to people. People give us their time. We need to make an impact for them back. So it was critical. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Of
So let's
course.
dive in. Tell me, what is it that you want us to cover? I have a lot of things, but I know we only have 30 minutes.
Yes, I better start my little thing so I don't forget. Well, we all know that you know automation. I mean, what's the tagline? Do what? Not billing, do.
So do business, not
What's
billing,
your
but I
tagline?
think,
I can't believe I don't have it memorized. Do something, not billing.
yeah, so do business. This is what
Do
we
business,
like.
not billing.
You can replace it with create money, build your dreams, anything apart from doing billing, and you can replace it with manual work or do what you like or what you want, not what you hate.
Nothing.
It's very, very simple because at the end of it, we all build businesses for a reason. Sometimes,
Hmm.
and this takes us back to the conversation we had before. A lot of times people just drown in the regular stuff and the things, the must-haves, and then they forget why the hell they even started a business.
Ah,
And then burnout follows, and then you go to technology and you look and say, "Oh, okay, I can't breathe. I want, to solve things." And when we started talking about it, and when I got prepared to this conversation, a lot of times it's a very, very easy trap to fall into, let's look for the most interesting tech, the newest thing that will save me from everything.
mhm.
And no one here, naturally, but some people I've heard that kept moving from one to-do list app to another to-do list app, hoping that it will make them more
Yep.
productive, and which
Yep.
never happened. No one listening here naturally has ever experienced this, but I've heard of some people. And so the problem is not with the tech. The problem is the way that we approach it.
Mentality, right? Do we get stuck in our ways? I always say that accountants are stuck. We are stuck in our ways because we're juggling so much that we're afraid if we make the slightest change, we're going to drop every single ball. So we'd rather keep doing it the miserable, miserable hard way that just makes us want to cry instead of setting the balls down for 5 minutes and fixing it and then not having to juggle again, right?
Although I think accountants are special in so many
We
different
are.
ways, this is something that is not only special to the accounting industry, it's a very human thing. We don't like change, and we have a sad reality of being stuck in patterns that a lot of times don't serve us. They serve us at
Yeah.
one point, and then the brain says, "Oh, this is a good thing." You get a dopamine hit, and then it's being recorded as a mental pattern that reality changes, you still keep playing the same thing. So the way I look at technology and automation in general, and especially in the age of AI, that people are having a hard time keeping up because literally every single day something that sounds groundbreaking is being released. So right now we're
Mhm.
at the latest buzzword is agent to agent, together mashed with MCP, and then it becomes this massive thing that it's agent to agent and everything's automated. Everybody's feeling overwhelmed with this, and I think to take a step back, I think the things that will continue to remain relevant regardless of the technology is your ability to stop and ask, what is it that I
Mhm.
want? Like, what do I want out of this business? Do I want it to be a lifestyle business? Do I want it to be a huge business and sell it? Do I want it to be a legacy business I can, then give my kids? I think that will, by design, determine what technology do you use. Um,
Absolutely. I had an
and
episode,
people,
Omri, called Building Your Business with Purpose, and that was the whole thing. Why? Before you start building, I know the reason they did it is because they probably hated working for the man, thought I can do this better on my own and have a happier life. So we all kind of started doing it for the money, right? We because I need to make my bills. And then you're like, okay, but why am I doing this now? Because I can go do this anywhere. Why am I doing this? And if you don't have that answer and you don't know, you don't define your why, then it's hard to define anything else, right?
it's very, I completely agree, and I think the more dangerous aspect of that is it's very easy to get lost, to like
Mhm.
be very, very, it's a very grind intense work. And especially now we're at the very edge of tax season. So a lot of people that might hear this episode are just at their like moment, like saying, okay, I got rid of that. I have a lot of things that I want to not do next year. So
Yeah.
it's I think, a good time to talk about these things. But having that mental clarity is something that will prevent you from just lifting your head after I don't know how many years of work, being burned out, frustrated, achieving everything that you thought you wanted, and then being literally empty, either
Mhm.
emotionally or like, okay, I hate it now. And then I want to sell it. I want to like, I want to, do something else. And
Yeah.
you can get to that point in style just by asking yourself constantly, am I going to somewhere that I wanted, or I picked it up from, watching Alex Hormozy movie, and now I feel okay, I'm pumped and I want to build $1 billion company. Well, when you really don't want to do that, you just want to have a
Yeah.
very, very high quality life with financial freedom.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that could frame a lot of things of how we choose technology. And I want to get practical. So with the time we have to guide people into where I feel, have some measurable knowledge into how to make an impact where I feel it counts. Like when we started the journey with Anchor, uh, we wanted to automate and free people from the burden of billing and collections, mainly from our own experiences. I hated, I had several businesses, started investing in businesses, and I kept hitting the same wall of, calling people and say, oh, sure, you're
Mhm.
on a ski holiday. I'll send the invoice on Monday. No, no problem again. And having these conversations like made me feel like a mouse. And I had a really good business and it still felt bad. And we understood that before you can do anything, you need to make sure that some aspects of the business are taken care of, so you have a proper foundation. So for us, the first, and this is, I think, the first journey or the first thing that we're seeing is making sure that the business has cash because that's the oxygen that will enable you to, go after whatever vision you want to create. So on that one, we have right now quite a bit of expertise. So we can dive into that or anything else that you wanted.
Absolutely. So I know that the very first thing I automated was my whole contract AR system, the very first thing. And it because I was using QuickBooks, and it was just I was using a PDF and then sign now, and then when that was done, then QuickBooks, and then I had a manual, and then I had to go hit whatever. So, and then I tried another software, and I was like, okay, this just isn't doing what I need it to do. So I know the first thing I did was that, and then moving into Anchor. And then of course I started with you guys way back in the beginning, right? So I know that when I first started, I'm like, okay, it was at the very beginning and trying to make things work because you didn't have all the amazing features that you have now. So it's so funny because even though I automated, I found all these loopholes and these ways to do things, I have to stay on top of it because now as you guys have added these features in, it's made my loopholes useless, or it makes the features not work, right? That's another piece I know I try to talk to people about is automation's great, but it's like buying a car and never changing the oil. You have to watch for the recalls, right? You have to stay on top of it. Otherwise, you could end up in a worse place. Like I think someone was asking the other day, how do you auto send the so in Anchor, we won't make this all about Anchor, but I talk about Anchor on
Yeah.
every single one of my episodes, so everybody knows I love Anchor. Um,
Thank
but it sends an auto. I have a Zap setup but I have to put it in like the name of my proposal. It has to have the
you.
word new, and then it sets the Zap. It sends out the email. But I think I had it set up something before, and then something changed, and I'm like, ooh, have to fix that. No one's getting anyhow.
Yeah, so
So
you're
to
an
me,
early adopter, like massively early adopter, which is amazing. And I think like
when
a
I
lot
was
of
downloading
that.
my QBO reports to
Oh,
could
no,
to
you're amazing, and more than that, I think like a big part of the things that we changed or created was due to your experience, and for anyone listening and probably knows you, you are anything but a straight shooter. So or you
I
are
don't
straight
ever
shooter.
tell
Like
how it
you
is.
don't hold back on criticism when needed. So, and I think we loved it.
Healthy criticism,
Oh, no,
right?
no, I love it because like we have a rule. I don't know if to regard, but we don't develop anything in a bubble. Meaning, I can come as a co-founder and tell a guy or product, "Wow, I have this idea for this amazing new feature," and then he says, "Oh, you're a paying client." And it's like, "No, I'm the founder." He's like, "So go f yourself." Like we're only
Ah,
getting feedback and doing things from people in the trenches because this is like the sure way to build. Just this huge stack of features that people don't really use. So
yeah,
we only take feedback from people in the trenches like yourself. And this is how you grow and evolve the company with trying something that, people need. And right now, this is how we still do it. We have a queue of things that we want to develop, and then we prioritize it according to what we see, people need the most.
yeah, absolutely.
But it's
And I know it's tech and it's automation, but it's a process, right? And this is such an important process to where people can go in, they could use your software, but that still doesn't mean that they have a good process in place. Like they could be using 6 or 7 pieces of technology, and if you're not if they're not flowing, if there's not a workflow, if there's not a process, if you're doing a lot of double entry, you're making your life harder. Like the whole thing should be, it's like, it should be like a domino effect. I have this, and I'll give it as a download on this. It's my tech workflow, and it shows this is where you start, and this is how it should all link. And if they don't link like that, it's a problem, right? And so I feel like Anchor, or your CRM should feed into Anchor, which should feed into your back to my CRM, which I just wrote the coolest zaps for. I'm pretty excited. And then it feeds into my project management tool, which then starts everything, right? So I kind of feel, well, the process for us kind of starts with our CRM. That's pre-client. For the client to actually have a proposal and come on, it goes to you guys, and then it goes post-client or current client, which is a project management tool. So I like to remind people that just because you're using automation, just because you're using software does not mean that you have a process that works. Like your software, whenever I bring in software, I think I should be able, what can I eliminate? Like am I bringing this in to bring it in, or what is my ROI? What am I getting back from this? Because I want to weigh it, right, in hours versus dollars versus value. And for me, if I can bring in software, I needed to replace at least 50% of one person on my team's time. That's my goal for anything I bring in.
So I completely agree on that, and I'll say even more. I think we could use the same framework as before in terms of what is it that I want to achieve. So if we look into what we do, you can say, okay, we improve the onboarding stage or the sales process, then
Mm-hmm.
the process, and then getting paid. So if I dive into, I ask, okay, what is it that I want to achieve when I'm approaching a client? So what is the role of a proposal and engagement letter? And when you
Mm-hmm.
ask that, you say, okay, I want it to be fast and easy for me because I hate doing it and promising, okay, I'll get it, I'll send it to you in 2 days, and then you miss the client because you basically were slow.
Yeah.
You want it to be dead simple for the client. So basically, you want it to convert really well. And then you say, okay, but I want to make the most amount of money. So you say, okay, a proposal needs to be like a sales tool for me that will help me upsell or cross-sell stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what else do I want out of it? I needed to set up that, trigger that automation so I don't have to work. So if you stop before going into fine tech to ask, what is it that I actually want to get out of this process or this thing, you'll be able to really digest things and better. Because, okay, so if I want to have something that will upsell and cross-sell, does anything that is a PDF-based concept help me do that? It can, but not so much. If you have something that's dynamic in packaging and knows how to have options and stuff like that, it's a lot better. It was easy to set up. So yes, you have templates that you need to download, change, remove the name and stuff like that, or you can have something that's like you put in the name, email, and send it so it's faster. How do they approach it? How long does it take them to sign? Is it easy
Yeah.
for them? They scan it, they need to read through a page, or it's like all in their palm of the hand and they sign. So it's a much easier way to judge technology and your process when you know what it is that you want to achieve, but
Yeah.
actually grilling it down. And this is how I look at anything that we do, even in the company and in my own I would say life, but I'm married with 4 kids, and sometimes this doesn't at all apply. What I want this doesn't help or apply. So this like let's only use this advice for technology, not relationships.
Not life, not life. I do not compute. I do not compute. When I'm done with work, I sit on my couch with a bag of tortilla chips and my dog. So I don't understand what it's like to have actual responsibilities. I dodge that. I
The
instead put
difference.
all my time into being a crazy anybody on my team will tell you they know I have this thing. If it's not documented, it doesn't exist. If it's not in writing, if it's not documented, it doesn't exist. And we use Loom and Scribe for everything, for our training, our document, every single thing. Like we're working right now on making a Loom of every single task that we have. So we actually exported all of the scope that we have from every client, and then sorted them by, okay, this is basically the same thing, so we'll do it once, right? And now we're trying to get a training video on every single thing, so no matter who we have to hire at what point, and they can go into the task or into the job, there is a video on how to do it right there. Here is how you do it if you don't know what you're doing. And then it just becomes less daunting to keep up with, because especially in the accounting industry, you never know if someone on your team's gonna win the lottery tomorrow. I was told I have to stop saying hit by a bus. So now we're using win the lottery. And they come in and I have all the processes in my head. I know how it goes, but they don't know. And then they're trying to jump into this new world of chaos. They could be an accountant for forever, know how to do all the accounting things, but they need to know the process. So we are we are over the past, I would say, probably 5 months, we have just buckled down on our workflows, our process, everything to the point where the team knows they just come to me like, Sharon, there's no process on this. I'm like, got it, because I love it. But the beautiful thing is you kind of do it once. As long as you have it set, you can do it. But I don't know. I'm an anomaly and I know this. I know my brain is weird. So that it works for me and I can see it. But I know a lot of other people it doesn't work for them. And they're like, how do you even start? I'm like, I map it out, I guess. Like I map it
This is
out.
brilliant because, like, if I, a lot of people, if you look into James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, he has a quote that I love, is you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Mhm.
So what you're doing is exactly, manifesting what he suggests you do. Is you have a system in place, you do that, and the system
Yes.
doesn't need to be a technical system. It could be just a, you do this before you do that, and then you drink coffee, or it doesn't matter. But you have a system in place that is, works. So I
Yeah.
love it.
Has to be replicatable, which is where technology comes in is amazing because before I always had systems. It was very manual though, download the Word doc, create a PDF, put the PDF in the file with the Word doc because someday we're going to have to edit it. And now you go here. And so technology has taken away a lot or has reduced a lot of that. And it's created a ton of efficiencies. And I keep worrying if I'm gonna process and efficiency my way out of business, but I guess that's a good maybe as long as I do it in a way that I can sell something and then it won't matter. I can sit back and watch everybody else do it for a while, but I don't know. I love it. It's my favorite thing about what I do
You'll
is
end up just building another thing. You're an entrepreneur, so it doesn't
I
really matter what will end up. You'll
No,
just
but I
build
need
it.
to stick with one for a little bit. I have that. I don't stop. It's really funny because I'm speaking at Bridging the Gap. I'm on a panel about ADHD in the accounting world and I laugh. I'm like, how are we going to tame a bunch of people with there's gonna be 7 conversations going on at the same time with 4 different people is what's gonna happen. Because
There's
our brains are
three
all
pills for everybody.
I don't take pills. I am, as you can tell, this is why I am the
So
I'm afraid. I'm
if
afraid.
if we're touching on that, I think something that might help a lot of people, or it definitely helped me on the topic, is how do you stay focused? Like we're talking about automating technology, but at the end of the day, there's a human that needs to be managed. Emotionally,
Yeah.
the focus, the attention, the burnout. So something that I really like using is an app and a service called blocksite.co, which basically enables you to prevent you from slipping down the rabbit hole of Facebook, news, whatever
Oh,
drug you use to dopamine yourself out of focus. So it basically, I have, whenever I, go to a new site or anything that I'm not supposed to, it's redirected to a web page I built that says, get back to
oh my
work.
God. That's
So
amazing. Do you know, no, I don't have that problem. I'm really lucky. I do not have a problem with getting going down like social media when I'm working. You know what my problem is? I get into
Mhm.
something and I start filing and organizing and renaming and deciding I don't. That is my problem. They're like, Sharon, why are you in there organizing the Google Drive? We need this from you. I'm like, it was a mess and I couldn't like I'll go to find a document and I'm like, why are these things all named wrong? And I'll go in and I'll start filing and renaming. That's also my downtime. Like if I am just fried, but I need to be in front of the computer because I know what for whatever reason I need to, that's what I do. I just sit and file. I organize my files.
This is a semi-productive way out of things. A lot of people
Yes.
that get
Better than going on
defocused,
Target or Amazon.
they find something really important to do and procrastinate on that versus something else that is very, very important to do.
I mean,
Uh,
something's gonna have to get done eventually anyways. I'm just, getting a little bit ahead of it, but I feel
So
less
for the
terrible
people
about
listening, if someone doesn't have Sharon's issues with filing and they do have a digital distraction, another
lots.
good app could be called Turkey, which is a lot more aggressive. It will block everything that you choose. It can block your folders if this is your downside. It's getcoldturkey.com.
I'm gonna install this on my husband's phone. He scrolls through, he death, what they call it, death scrolls like crazy.
Oh,
He'll have a day, he's like, I'm gonna take a relaxing day because he's building our outside kitchen. So he's like, I need a break. And I am telling you, I will not look at my phone for an hour and I'll go back and there's 17 new Instagram videos he sent me I need to watch. I'm like,
wow.
I am not watching these because what'll
But for
happen is I'll
him,
watch it and then I'll go to the next one and the
you
next
can
one.
help them by installing. There's another thing, as you see, I've researched that to be protected from all cases. There's another place called Hide My Feed, which basically keeps you, you have the entire, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, doesn't matter. You have the frame. So if you want to look for something, you find it. But the dopamine suction machine and the feed itself is being just blocked. You don't see it. So very, very uh, yeah.
As a, for anybody that's an owner of a company that gives out computers to their teams, there's actually this really, they call it a productivity software, but it's not. It's a watching you software. So you put it on and you can actually, you could block anybody from going to certain sites, but it'll also tell you if they're on there. So we, last year before I got rid of half of my team, we uploaded this software and because I was like, there's just no way. We have all these processes in place, we're doing all these things. We're overstaffed. What is happening? How are they telling me they're not getting things done on time? Well, we uploaded this software and lo and behold, a few people were just hitting their mouse to keep the green line on Slack to look like they're active, but they never did anything. Some of them were like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this is just absolutely terrible. No wonder we're not getting anything done. And then the ones that were doing everything were carrying everything for the rest of the team. And so they're burnt out. I feel like that's how you end up losing people on your team is like that. Anyhow, it's called Insightful. I really like it. We still
Yeah.
have it, but now it's more of a, we don't need it for that reason anymore. Now we have it more of a, if we need to go back and look like how much time did we spend on this for this client, it actually shows us instead of having to go back and forth. So it's helpful in that way. It's nice not having to look anymore, but it was very eye-opening. So that's part of our
Maybe a new
process.
episode of how did I tweak my hiring processes to prevent this from ever happening?
Oh, you
Although
can't. I'm
it
already,
sounds like
some of these people I've
you,
never even met in person. Like some people
uh,
just can't work from home. It's just a fact. Some people are just not good at it and they get distracted left and right. And some people just have bad intentions. And there's just so it's not even like trying to be controlling over people. For me, it's protecting the rest of my team that is also getting, paid probably the same amount from having to do extra work when they shouldn't. I try to look at it that way instead of it because I don't go in and look. It gives me an alert. If I get an alert, I'm like, uh-oh. Otherwise, no alert, no problem. I don't care what you're doing.
but what happens if I'm trying to add value to people listening in, and what
Yeah.
happens you've had a system that has complete transparency over the actual work in real time, meaning that okay, there's who does what and when is it done, and then there's like a Monday board that everybody's accountable to getting it done, and then if it's not done, it's not done. Like,
We have that. We use Client Hub and I can
mhm,
manage everybody in there. And that's thankfully because we have all these processes and these workflows, that's how we knew something was broken. And that's how
mhm.
we knew, okay, there's that time
That-
theft is really what it was, right? But if we didn't have all these processes in place, we would have had no idea. So I can look, I'm like, hey, we have all these deadlines coming up and you're tracking time and we have time budgeted and allotted for every client because they're in scope. So I'm like, if this is a client that should be 3 hours a month and you log 7 hours, there's a problem and it's still not done, there's a problem. So thankfully, because of the workflows and the processes we have in place, we identify it really quickly. But I also like to make sure I'm not jumping the gun on anything. So when we got that software in, it was like I said, it solidified everything that I already knew, but at least I felt better and I was like, this is why. So don't tell me that I'm a terrible person. I'm calling you out on it. But yeah, but again, without it, there are a lot of people that I know that they all just use email and Microsoft Excel and they have no process in place. I'm like, how do you know if things are getting done? She goes, oh, well, the client would tell me. I'm like, yeah, by then it's late. Like then it's the client's telling you because there's a problem. How are you proactive? Well, we haven't had that problem yet. Have you not? I just don't think you've been, I don't think it's been called out yet.
And it
Anyhow,
is a matter
that's
of
my
scale. If you have, 10 clients or 200, it's different. You're going to be confronted
100%.
with different problems much, much faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And all it takes is one person to not do something for 2 weeks, and then you can't catch up to it. And that's again where you have all the workflows and the training recorded to where if I had to let someone go, I can go on Upwork and go, oh, you know accounting? Okay, great. Hop in. Everything is documented in process. Here is the link. You can go in and do, I can, if you just know basic accounting and how to use QuickBooks, now you can go in and work on all of our clients because everything is in there for you. So it makes it, the reason I know is we just did that. We just tried it out. We hired a few people from Upwork to kind of test our systems. And in 1 month they were in, they did, I was really happy. So again, it's a lot of accounting is just that industry to where I think we're at that point where we either have to you if you ain't you got to join them. Otherwise the ones that are not setting these things up, they're like, I'm almost out, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But then the downfall with that, Omri, is that these people have had firms for a long time and they're like, look, I'm almost out of here, I just don't even want to deal with this anymore and I'm just going to retire. I'm like, but then you're just giving it away. Your clients have a value. Like you could sell that to somebody, but nobody's going to buy your clients, or you're going to have a hard time buying your clients if everything was paper, no process, you did it however, and then they came to you or something. It's just the more processed you are and the more you have documented, the more value your firm has.
We see it quite a bit because when it comes to getting paid, a lot of them have a personal relationship with the clients that has been going on for years, and then they have everything in their minds. And so when it comes time to renew or anything, like this is like a personal relationship, and this is why it's so hard for them. It's a lot of friction. Uh, and a lot of them say, no, no, it's on me. I know everybody. I don't want to bring in something that's automating this because this is where I feel that, I'm not a commodity. I have this rapport with
Yeah.
them. However, when we show them the numbers and say, okay, like if you want, like what do you want? So I want to leave it to my kids. You say, okay, great. What are you going to live to your
What are
kids
you
if
leaving to
everything
them? Yeah.
is funneled through you? And then, or as you said, if you want to sell it, it's completely different. And so it's either processes or making sure automation is in place and you're not a bottleneck to your own business.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where a lot of owners come in. And I used to be that person because everyone's like, hold on, Sharon knows the answer. Sharon knows the answer. I'm like, hold on, Sharon doesn't want to know the answer. Sharon wants to document the answer and then let you guys decide if that answer still works. Because I don't work in the business. I work on it. I jump in to help when needed. And I do advisory, but I don't do any of the things. So I always ask them, hey, this is how we did it. Does that make sense anymore? And they're like, no, it does not. Okay, then fix it. Like, but document it. It has to be
Now
documented.
you can build
That's
your
it.
own Sharon bot, and you won't need to do that as well. You're going to have a virtual you. Hopefully, uh,
That's a horrible product. That's
it's
like
not
that
horrible.
singing fish
I
ball.
was about to say you'll be able to have a filter that's like no swear words and stuff like that. So that
Hey, I have not said the F word at all on this podcast at all. I just want to make that super clear. I'm super happy
well,
about
maybe it's a
that.
good opportunity.
No, I'm not going to do it. I think I'm not. I'm going to hold it in on this one. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little unfiltered in real life, but it's okay. So I guess like I want to hear give me I know we're coming up, but I want a story. Like you're with Anchor, we talked about this. Billing chaos. What's the biggest inefficiencies you see with how businesses are getting paid? Like what's the most craziest thing you're
Wow.
seeing?
So I get goosebumps just thinking about it because the funniest or the craziest are actually the saddest. We had a magical lady that was in a abusive relationship for years. Lived with someone that was a narcissist, and he really, really pushed her down, and then she got away out of that relationship and opened the business. But due to that, self-esteem or that challenge, she couldn't get to a point where she would ask to get paid. So she worked for 6 months without getting paid, not because she didn't do a good job or because she didn't ask to get paid. And then having something or a vehicle that's automated that will automatically just ask and or not even ask, just get paid,
Yep.
really, really made an impact on that aspect. So that was, I think this is what makes me happy to do what we do, and I don't wake up in the morning saying, "Ah, I'm automating invoices." We're able to touch people's lives, and so that's one end. The crazier thing is that we had a relatively, yeah, it's not a big company, but they had like 400 clients for an accounting bookkeeping firm. It's a good size. And I was talking to them about, how do they, their AR and how to manage. Say, yeah, we don't really do that. I was like, okay, so how do you get paid? No, eventually we do that, but it takes like 6 months. I'm like, what do you mean? And then they show me how they do things, and they're very, very diligent with doing the work. But out of friction, and they're the last to be paid, they don't even issue the invoices on time, and then they do everything on a backlog. So when it comes to the end of the year, they don't have enough money to run the company. So they take a bridge loan onto February just to, until they manage to collect. And
Oh
this
my
is their process. This is what they've been doing for years. They max out, they take a bridge loan. It's, it's not expensive, and this is how they manage it. So we had that. We had people using a tech stack that was like 17 different, like integration hell. Think about, they're trying to automate things. They have like 17 different pieces of software mashed together with duct tape and Zapier badly. And yet nothing works. And it's super expensive. And at the end of it, when you actually go down with them and you see everything is manual because it's so broken, they don't trust the automation and the information. Everything is still siloed. So, and they have all of it, and then they do it still manually. So we've seen a lot of creative ways. People have they're very creative with patching their stuff, and mostly because they're looking at what they're doing and say, okay, how trying to avoid suffering and trying to like patch stuff on it instead of stopping and really asking, okay, what is it that I want
God.
to achieve? Let's clean that up.
Yeah. They just keep like just slapping more of the what's that tape on the QVC channel. Just don't fix the leak, just smack this tape on it. It'll be fine.
It's basically, like naturally, no one here and not me, we've never done anything like that. But it's
Never.
very, especially when you're overwhelmed with a ton of things to do, it's very, very natural to try and want to, make that go away. But I think now is a very, very good time in the year to take a deep breath and then ask yourself, what is it that I'm not willing to suffer anymore?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
could be, unperforming staff. It could be stuff that you already promised yourself 3 times that, never again, I'm not going to do that. We need to change it, and you still haven't. Uh, it could be health. Like, I think this is a really good opportunity to revisit it.
Yeah.
And asking you, you're the pro. What would you advise people to change? Uh, we're at the brink of tax season, and what would you advise them to do and change and automate now? Especially, we're in 25, there's AI, there's a ton of things, or what's the most beneficial thing people
Are
can
you
do?
actually asking me?
Yeah,
Oh, you're asking me a question. Project
yeah.
management, your whole client onboarding experience to me is everything. Of course, the pre is one thing, but that onboarding, that once they sign, um, I like our system set up to where our clients can sign at any point in time. They could sign over the weekend when we're all with our families at the beach. I'm playing Keno. It doesn't matter. and the system is automated to onboard them. It gets them moving. They can get their onboarding call. Here's the things we need from you. Here's your portal, upload, and then it launches a task list. So that way there's no lag between the moment they've signed and given us money and the moment we start working for them, because that is where that gap to me and that onboarding is what sets the entire tone of the experience that your client's going to have with you. I paid you money, I haven't heard anything. So
Mm.
ours is set, I think it's 17 minutes after they sign. They get a onboarding email and the welcome email and this and this and this. And then it all starts coming in and then everything launches. So there's no delay regardless of what we're doing. And that was important to me because I'm on Pacific. Some of my team's on Central. The company runs on Central. Another part of my team's on Eastern. So it's like, how do we do this? But to me, especially because we're coming into such a technology-based age and AI, those relationships are the things we need to really nurture and stay on top of, because keeping those client relationships close to me is the only thing that's going to keep them being our clients. Otherwise, what reason do they not have to just go directly to AI if they're just feeling like they're getting bookkeeping, right? In fact, I think Anchor is so successful, not only because of your software, but because of you and your team. People know you, they know you guys have built a software also built on a relationship with people, and your customer experience is amazing from day one. And it just shows that no matter how much software you bring in, you still need that people aspect.
I completely agree. For us, it's first of all, I think it's a brilliant advice. I think many overlook that, and if you look at, and it's like you're looking at from the point of once you've been paid. I think that it's very critical to have that even before you got paid, which is even more critical because if you ask, and people have asked, this question millions of times when they do surveys, and like, how did you choose, the utility guy? How did you choose like to go with this service and this service? You just say, yeah, the first that got back to me.
Yeah,
That's it.
the
As
first and the
simple.
nicest.
Yeah, like it's no, they're just like they're the first that actually like I left a message for three people, they got back to me first. So I think a lot of things that we really look into is how fast do people get the proposal after you speak with them. If you tell them, okay, I'll send it in 2 days,
Yeah.
like in today's reality, 2 days is like forever. We try to encourage people to do it already over the phone. It's simple
Yep.
enough so you can, okay, this is what you want, tuck, 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 send it, and then
Yeah.
review it and get it signed while you're on it with them.
Hmm.
So it's becoming more critical, and I think the experience people are having with consumer apps where everything is immediate, everything is an Amazon,
Yeah.
field. There used to be for years a detachment from businesses. Okay, no, business is gray and slow. So, but it's no longer the case. People got used to these standards and they're looking for the same experience, which makes total sense. And businesses that lack to do that will fall short because people, you won't get an instant gratification on Netflix, Amazon, everything, and here you say, okay, yeah, 2 weeks is fine for me. Just won't happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I feel like people, some of them, they hope, I always feel like it's that little piece right there that they're like, yeah, I got the money, but I know I'm underwater. Like, it's this
Mm.
game to get the money. But I totally agree with you because I can't tell you how many times in the past, because I've automated that whole pre-onboarding as well. Like, I was pretty excited. I just built it all a couple of weeks ago, my funnels and everything, because I'll get sent something and I'll forget. And I'm like, well, they probably already went somewhere else. Not because I'm not good at what I do or I didn't, just because they wanted to answer and I didn't give it to them. So absolutely. And Anchor templates, all of that for you. I was going to say, where can they find you? But I'm going to drop in my code into this chat. And it'll get you $50 in credits for Anchor. And just so anybody that's listening, Anchor is free to use. You don't pay per user. You pay per transaction. So they don't get paid unless you get paid. And it's only $5 per transaction for any transaction over $10. And you can also push the credit card fees to the client if you wanted to, or you can absorb those. So I'll put that in. So when you get that and you sign up, you can send out 10 agreements before you ever pay anything. And it's nice. Otherwise, I template all that stuff in there. I have all of everything completely templated where when we are on the call, we can just send it out, and it is really nice. Unless it's something more for my accounting business, anyways. For Glass Wallet, it's a little harder because some of that advisory is so detailed that I need to actually like write it out. That's a lot, but highly recommend Anchor.
If no one heard
It's
that, you should delete it after the recording.
which one? I should do
That
what?
you're actually writing. It's like in today's age, writing. You don't ask
I
ChatGPT to do everything.
I
You
mean,
still work.
well, I write it all out and then I make ChatGPT put it in
I'm
with
kidding. I'm
bullet
kidding.
points.
People are right now thinking that this is, we're riding over to the sunset, that no one will work and everything will be automated completely. And I think that a lot of people might get disappointed because if you look at what happens with technology, sad things happen, meaning that we have these amazing technologies and people have it like that. We have more technology, better automation, better everything, that people had in their 50s. Like,
Yeah,
but do we work less? Are we more content? No, you work more and everything is more intense. And
yeah,
this is what's going to happen, at least at the beginning, until humanity changes, because you know, just the RAF, the standards are getting more competitive and higher because, back in the day, you would send a letter, it would take a month to get in. That was okay.
Mhm.
Now it's instant. You used to have,
Instinct.
okay, yeah, you used to like, for me, one of the biggest pleasures were to be on a plane, a very, very long flight because it was quiet. Now you, you know, you're online. There's an
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter. Like you should like, why don't you text me? Like the fact that you're above the Atlantic doesn't matter. So I
Yeah.
think this is an expectation that needs to go away. We're just going to be able to do cooler things much faster. And again, keep.
Either that, Omri, or we're all gonna automate ourselves out of jobs, and the only thing we're gonna be doing is that we're all be working at the manufacturing plants, taking care of the robots that took over for us. So I watch way too many movies. I Robot, The Matrix. Like honestly, I'm just like
If you follow the
just
metrics,
preparing.
you're not going to be building the robots. You're going to be a battery. So, but
A
then again,
battery for the robots.
yeah,
Either way. I just watched a
just make
movie
sure.
last night with Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown, and that's what it was. Her brother is like the brain, the battery that is operating all these drones. It was called, I can't remember what it was. It's on Netflix right now. I was like, man, that's depressing.
Just make sure that when you're asking ChatGPT for stuff, end with please, and you're set.
I do. It's so nice. I give her a name. How's it going today? How's it going? Thank you so much. You're amazing. Because let me tell you what, when those robots come to life, they're gonna be like, nope, she's on the good list.
I don't think
Never
so.
once did she say now.
But,
Oh
it
my
was a
goodness.
real, real pleasure spending this time with you. I hope we added some value to people, and you're amazing. I think people are unaware of how many things you do, how talented you are, and how detailed you are, which is crazy. And we see a lot of people, and you're really in the weeds of understanding why things tick. And I would encourage people listening to really follow what you do because I think a lot of them are in a stage that they're ripe enough to learn from you. So I definitely encourage that.
Thank you. That was the nicest thing they once said to me all year.
You should hang out more, or you
I
should
know
change
there.
your phone.
Well, that is going to be a wrap for today's episode from Stuck to Scaling, the $1 Million Journey. Huge thanks to Omry Man for breaking down how to stop drowning in busy work and start running a business that actually runs itself. If you want to connect with Omri or check out Anchor, visit sayanchor.com. That's right? Is that right? Okay. So next month, we're going to be talking with Jennifer Scott about hiring without the headache. So if you're tired of wasting time on bad hires, turnover, and managing people who just don't get it, this one's for you. And don't forget, we always have a killer handout to go with today's episode. Today, we've got Get Your Ish Together Business Systems Checklist. So it's really going to help you identify where you should start on your systems and your processes. And I'll add in my tech stack workflow as well. And don't forget, sometimes you have to scale down to scale up, and success isn't about working harder, it is about working smarter. See you next time.